Aloha and good afternoon and welcome to the Senate Committee on Government Operations. Today is Thursday, February 11th, 3:00 p.m. We are in conference room 16 with members of the committee and the public joining remotely via video conference. I'm Sharon Moriwaki, chair of the committee, and joining me today remotely are Senators Mike Gabbard and Senator Kurt Favela. Welcome. Oh, and Senator Chang, Senator Stanley Chang. Aloha. Before proceeding with the hearing, I'd like to make a few housekeeping announcements. This hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. You can find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we encounter major technical difficulties during the hearing and must end it abruptly, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Tuesday, February 16th in conference room 16 and via video conference. In order to accommodate everyone who registered to testify remotely today, we will be limiting testimony to 2 minutes each. Today, the agenda includes 7 bills. The first bill is Senate Bill 135, relating to telecommunication, requiring the Office of Enterprise Technology Services to study and report on appropriate state buildings on the neighbor islands and in remote rural areas of Honolulu County that can provide telecommunication access to participate in legislative hearings. Our first testifier is from the Office of Enterprise Technology Services, Chief Information Officer Doug Murdoch. Good afternoon, Doug. Thank you. The next testifier is from the Disability and Communication Access Board, DCAB, Kirby Shaw. Is Kirby Shaw on? Okay.
Senator, they're not present.
Not present, okay, with comments. And Leimomi Khan, an individual in support. Is Leimomi on? That is all the testimony I have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? If not, members' questions? I do have one for Doug. The testimony, I don't know if you've seen it from Mr. Shaw from DCAB, request that we have equal access for the disabled in the buildings. Would you, when you're doing your assessment, be able to also assess the access for the disabled in those buildings? I'll add that to include that to satisfy the American with Disabilities Act provisions. Thank you.
Understood.
Okay, moving on, SB 797, as again relating to the Office of Enterprise Technology Services, providing the Chief Information Officer with authority to approve or expedite approval of management information system projects over $1 million and report annually on the status of these projects. The first testifier is Chief Information Officer Doug Murdoch. The next testifier is from Transform Hawaii Government, Executive Director Christine Sakuda. Is Christine on? Okay, testimony and support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? Members, any questions? Okay, moving on to SB 798, requiring the state to purchase only zero emission vehicles for its motor pool beginning January 1st, 2022. And the first testifier is Comptroller Kurt Otaguro.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Next is State Energy Office, Scott Glenn or designee. Anyone on?
Aloha, this is Kirsten Turner with the State Energy Office. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great, because the video isn't.
Could you turn your video on, please?
I did.
Kirsten. Next is the Department of Education, the Superintendent, Christina Kishimoto. Anyone here from the DOE? Okay, that's with comments. Next for Ulupono Initiative, Micah Munekata. In support. Testifying for 350 Hawai'i, Sherry Pollock. In support. Americans for Democratic Action, John Bickle. In support. Kauai EV, Sonia Cass. In support. Testifying from Mission Zero Hawaii, Justin Carvalho. In support. Hawaii EV Association, Noel Morin. In support. And some individuals here in support. Steve Parsons, Justin Carvalho, and Andrew Richard Cass. Anyone else to testify on this measure? Members, any questions? I do. For Comptroller, your testimony indicated that the department has about 700 vehicles, that there are 23 agencies with motor pools in the state executive branch with over 6,000 vehicles. I'm just wondering whether DAGS has been able to work with the other agencies. As we heard from the other testifiers, you know, the state should be a model in terms of getting to 100% non-fossil fuel transportation. So I'd like to know whether the comptroller has some coordinating power over the other agencies to discuss how we might get there as a state.
Thank you for
Understand that DAGS already is moving in the direction of purchasing vehicles, as is DOT, and some charging stations as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if we looked at this bill, which requests that the executive agencies in replacing their vehicles look toward replacing with electric vehicles, if it's not cost prohibitive, you are okay with that language in the bill?
Yes, in fact, as we however, going forward, we will be looking at older cars that do need to be replaced, that are fully justified, and that are being used. And so that's another criteria that I believe we'll be implementing is the cars have to not be sitting in the parking lot anymore. They have to be used. They have to be used up to a certain criteria, I guess, that we can define. Assuming that and it justifies the means that we can absolutely purchase EV cars. As you know, there are certain types of functions within the state that may not be conducive to an electrical vehicle at this time, an EV, like we just had a dialogue with the Sheriff's Division, and those EVs may not work for that line of work. Other cars in DLNR, as they travel up in the mountains, those kinds of vehicles may not be applicable right now. But yes, there are absolutely sedans and passenger vehicles that are low-hanging fruit that we can absolutely convert and should be converting.
Okay, thank you, Comptroller. Anyone else with questions of the Comptroller or anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. We will move on to SB 851, classifying small wireless facilities as permitted uses and not subject to zoning approval if deployed in unserved or underserved areas, and provides definitions of these two areas. Our first testifier is with the Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism. Bert's here on behalf of the director. Bert Lum.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Bert Lum. I'm the Strategy Officer for Broadband in DBED. And DBED stands on its written testimony in support of SB 851. And I'm available for comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
For questions.
Thank you. Next is the Department of Transportation, Jade Butai, Director.
Hey, Senator, they're not present.
Okay, thank you. Next is Verizon, Michael Iosua.
Hi, Senator, they're not present.
Okay. Keep Your Power Hawaii, Deborah Green.
That would be me.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I'm testifying on behalf of Keep Your Power, which is a statewide coalition of concerned Hawai'i residents advocating for safe technology. And we oppose SB 851, which would take away home rule. Under the guise of bringing broadband to unserved and underserved areas, which is basically the neighbor islands, this bill seeks to bypass local zoning review or approval for small cell wireless facilities. And this is a very bad idea. Each island is different with unique needs, and those unique needs of each island can best be served by allowing local planning commissions to review and approve small cell facilities. This one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach mandated by the state does not work for the neighbor islands. Small cell facilities carry with them large, ugly data boxes the size of small refrigerators. And with tourist-driven economies, the islands must pay attention to aesthetics. Putting these ugly wireless infrastructure in the public rights of way demands local involvement. So again, a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach mandated by the state does not work for these islands. Please join us in opposing SB 851 and honor home rule.
I do. What? Oh, okay. Is there Steve Parsons on? No, that's from before. No. Okay. Is Mahana Weddings Maui on? I think we're having technical difficulties.
wait.
Are you Maha Conyers? No, Steve Parsons. Steve, are you Steve? We're having technical difficulties. Matt, are you on?
Do you want to skip them?
Yeah, I think someone's trying to speak. I think that might be Steve Parsons.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I skipped him. And
Okay, well, maybe I just, if I stop my video, am I better?
yeah, but yeah, I think it's fine. So Steve, I'm sorry I missed you.
Yes, Senator. I did stop my video to see if I could get my video audio to work better, but if you still can't hear me, please read my testimony.
Yeah, we have your testimony, but on SB 798, I'm so sorry, we could not, we're having technical difficulties, but we do have your testimony, Steve, in support. So I'm going to.
My name is
move-
Steve Parsons.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Mahalo.
Okay, mahalo to you. I'm sorry about the our technology, technical difficulties, but we've got your written testimony in support. Thank you, Steve. Okay, moving along to SB 851, Mahano Weddings Maui. Anyone here from Mahano Weddings Maui? Okay, in opposition, and testifying for Keep Your Power Kauai, Kathy Matara. Is that you, Kathy? Welcome. Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. The Kauai branch of Keep Your Power also opposes Senate Bill 851. We are in favor of local control, and we would like to keep the zoning laws and approval processes in place. We feel that it's very important for the outer islands to have this local power. And there's a few reasons for that. One is, I don't know if people are aware, but these small cell towers are typically placed in residential areas as frequently as every 3 houses. So they're very close, and they are also very close possibly to your bedroom. And this is a safety issue because these small towers radiate with the 5G stronger gigahertz frequencies. So a proximity to your home or your baby's crib could be something worth worrying about. And so we would like to be able to control that situation so that the towers are not too close. Research studies, there are many, thousands of peer-reviewed research studies showing that radio frequencies cause cancer, both at close range and far field. In 2018, the National Institute of Health published a 10-year study on lab rats that showed clear evidence that radio frequency at 900 megahertz, typical of channel for cell phones and cell towers, caused heart schwannomas, brain gliomas, as well as prostate, pituitary, pancreas, and liver cancers. Also, the Rabazzini study, which was also on rats and was a far field study mimicking the cell tower type of exposure with exposure up to 1.8 gigahertz.
I'm going to have to ask you to speed it up because we're meeting. We've got a zero
Okay.
time. So
Okay. Can I conclude, or should I be done? Can I conclude?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'll skip to the conclusion. The studies show health problems so that we are in favor of local control and therefore oppose this bill. And we respectfully request a no vote on this bill 851. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. We also have 56 written testimonies in opposition. Members, any questions? I do. Bert Lum, just real quickly, is Bert still on?
Yes, Senator.
Bert, you heard the testimony from Kathy and others regarding the one-size-fits-all concerns and being close to residential areas and the impacts. Can you respond to that?
Well, you know, there was a bill that was passed in 2018 that set up a procedure for the carriers to look at attachments and attachment rates for these government facilities. So this bill, you know, may have the issue in this bill is probably already covered in the bill that was passed in 2018. And the other thing is that, of course, I'm not a health expert, so you know it would probably be better to solicit input from you know some of the health experts in this area. But in terms of the frequencies that are being, I guess, considered. Many of them are already in play with the current cell network as well as Wi-Fi. So this is not something that is anything new, I guess. And so I would sort of question whether the impact would be as described.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you all. I'm moving on to SB 947. This bill establishes the Broadband and Digital Equity Office in the Governor's Office, and the first testifier is from the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism. Bert, are you representing the director?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Again, my name is Bert Lum, Strategy Officer for Broadband, and we support this bill 947, but also would request that you consider the language that is in a very similar bill in the GOVS package, which is SB 1067, and feel that it's problematic for the Broadband Digital Equity Office to be placed into the GOVS office, since that would be very temporary, and that is better suited to be in DBID, where I currently reside. So I would respectfully ask for that consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. Anyone here from the, it's Lisa Kim, Cable Administrator. Okay, next, Department of Human Services, Kathy Betts.
Hi, Senator, they're not present.
Okay, in support. Department of Transportation. Anyone here from Transportation? In support. Department of Health, the Director, Elizabeth Char, in support.
Hi, Senator, they're not present.
Okay, Maui County Mayor's Office, in support. AARP, in support. Hawaii Primary Care Association, in support. The Hawaii Broadband Hui, David Miyashiro, in support. Keep Your Power Hawaii, Deborah Green, with comments.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Proceed.
Thank you. So, we want everyone to have equal access to safer, faster, more secure fiber optics. We do not want more toxic towers and antennas pumping out harmful wireless radiation. The problem is that the Hawaii legislature has redefined broadband as including hardwired fiber optic cables, as well as wireless towers and antennas. So we want the fiber optic cables to be run to the premises, to our homes, to our schools, to our businesses, such as Hawaiian Telecom is doing. We do not want the fiber optics to be run to the wireless towers and antennas because wireless emits microwave radiation, which is a known hazard to humans and to the environment. The state relies on the FCC guidelines to protect us. And if ever there was a question about the harm of wireless radiation from cell towers, antennas, and wireless devices, that question has been answered. After the FCC last month found no evidence of harm caused by wireless technology, the Children's Health Defense and other groups sued and included 11,000 pages of evidence refuting the FCC's conclusion. So you can check that out at the childrenshealthdefense.org. Again, if ever there was a question about the FCC shirking its duty to protect the citizens of the United States, and that means us, against this onslaught of wireless radiation, the question has been answered. So it's time for the state of Hawaii to stop this proliferation of wireless technology and implement faster, safer, more secure fiber optics to the premises, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jolie Johnson from Keep Your Power. Comments. Next, Mahana Weddings Maui. Anyone here in opposition? And I have Cecilia Dowsett, an individual.
Hi, Senator. They're not present.
Okay, thank you. I've got a total of 44 written testimonies, 26 with comments, 16 opposed, 2 in support. Members, any questions? I'll call Bert Lum back again. Bert, would you like to respond to Deborah about the fiber optics, or the broadband hardware? Is that going to be something that this Digital Equity Office will be looking at? Some of the concerns raised.
Thanks, Senator. You know, we are very much supporting fiber deployment as far into the community as well as the last mile, and agree that, you know, that is probably the fastest, most secure internet connection that end users could I guess access and utilize. But the reality is that, you know, there are other options for connectivity, which includes wireless. And I think an example of that is the fact that, you know, many of us regularly carry our smartphones and depend on our smartphones for access and for information. And I think in terms of the realities of whether or not fiber will ultimately get to all the locations is one of finances and the economy or the economics of it. So there will always be sort of these gaps that exist, and wireless technology is definitely a viable technology to be able to connect some of the areas that are sometimes difficult from a financial standpoint to actually deploy fiber all the way to. So it does continue to be a viable solution in my mind, and I think it should still continue to be considered as a viable option.
And this Digital Equity and Broadband Office will be looking at all of these options. Is that the idea of the office?
That's correct. You know, we embrace the wireline, the wireless, as well as the satellite options that are coming to bear in our very, very near future. So we're looking at all the different options that enable communities to get connected.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to SB 1303, requiring the Director of Budget and Finance to conduct and report on biennial program and budget performance reviews of all state agencies. The first testifier is from the Department of Budget and Finance. Anyone here to testify?
Yes, Senator Neil Miyahiro for the Department of Budget and Finance. We stand on our written testimony in support of the intent. We'll be able to answer questions.
Thank you, Neil. Is there anyone else here to testify on this bill? Any questions, members? I do. Neil, I
Yes.
appreciate the support and intent of your testimony, indicating that there are 200 program IDs, and that would be a concern of the office of your department to do these reviews. But I do want to clarify that this bill asks the Budget and Finance Department to review and report on the budget, the program, and the performance of major executive branch agencies. And I want to go back to you in terms of how you see BNF working to conduct these reviews.
As a normal course of what we do, we're supposed to be doing these type of things. We don't. In the past, we did used to have what we called a program memorandum that did in a higher level, more organized fashion, look forward about issues and changes coming on, and having the various departments report back in a narrative format about those things as a kind of precursor to the budget itself. We don't do that anymore, just because after the Great Recession, we lost staff and we try to prioritize what we have to do.
When was the last time you did such a review?
In 2007, yes, 2007. It was done once a biennium.
And but this is required by statute. Are you saying that this is section 37-70, requiring the governor to provide such information at the beginning of each biennium? So you're saying you haven't done that since 2007?
Yes. Yes.
So especially now as we face the pandemic and the results of it and our budget deficit, major budget deficit, do you think that it might be time to reinstitute looking at these program reviews from a big perspective of the departments or the major agencies, to start looking at their programs, what their missions are, how they're performing, and the budget to align with that?
Yeah, it may be good, but I would have to consult with the director.
Well, I think that it's about time, don't you? So don't you think, though, BNF, being that you are overseeing the budgets of all the departments, that they should be aligned with providing the services needed by the community, and it's about time to look at that in the departments?
Yes, it's opportune.
Okay, and so do you think that we need this bill to go forward so that you will start doing it? Or if it's in statute,
I don't think we need the bill. It's just prioritizing the staff time and moving forward.
So if we had some way to assure that BNF would start doing this in the coming biennium, might we suggest something like a concurrent resolution requiring BNF to start the reviews so that we could have something in the next biennium as required by law?
Yeah, I'll follow up with the director.
Okay, well, we will proceed in that direction, because I think now more than ever, we need to have the programs being reviewed. And in 17 years, I would imagine the departments and the environment has changed quite significantly. So we will look into that and work with your department to see that it gets done.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Okay, well, moving along then to 1307, which is establishing an information technology modernization program management office. Guide and support major information technology projects in the executive departments and the university. Our first testifier is from the Office of Enterprise Services, the Chief Information Officer, Doug Murdoch.
Aloha, Senator. We'll stand on our testimony in support of this bill.
Thank you. Next up is the Department of Accounting and General Services, the Comptroller, Kurt Odaguro.
Good afternoon, Senator. Department of Accounting and General Services supports SB 1307 and Office of Technology Services in its efforts to move the Hawaii Modernization Initiative. It's an important program that will take the state into the 21st century. As you know, we are in need of automation of various processes to be more efficient, to establish checks and balances, and really just to operate at a higher level, especially with the pandemic and the ability to telework and having things automated without having the need to process paper. Mr. Murdoch's team is highly qualified to do that in our payroll system and now time and leave. But there are many other state agencies that need this kind of expertise that is difficult to really have across the state. And so having a centralized unit for program management that benefit all state agencies in a priority sequence absolutely makes sense. And I think that this would be a very good initiative. So thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Next up, we have from Transform Hawaii Government, Christine Sakuda. Is Christine in the conference?
Hi, Senator. They're not present.
Okay, Christine Sakuda in support. Anyone else to testify on this measure? Members, any questions? Okay. I do. To Comptroller, there is an appropriation and staffing in this bill, but we look at the current status, and I think, as you point out, this is a really important project. We really need to get automation into the departments, especially major legacy systems. And to make sure that this bill moves along, I was wanting to get from you an idea of whether we could put the appropriation in the budget and delete it from the bill, but move the bill along in terms of its concept, and get your support for looking at how we might support this program modernization.
Yes, we realize that this is the most difficult time to ask for any additional appropriation and additional staffing. CIO Murdoch had a plan in place last year to hold vacancies with savings to fund an activity like this, because it is important. These systems that we're implementing today have a different skill set. It's a business analyst type of activity, not a traditional programming and analyst type of thing, systems analyst type of thing, where you had the legacy systems on a mainframe programming. And so many of these systems today have the need to have settings and configurations, and that requires someone that understands technology, but also understands the business process, and to connect the two are skill sets that are now needed in this state more than ever, and will continue to be needed in the state. So we believe the need is there and fully justified. Having funding is obviously essential. We are proposing different funding schemes to the Budget and Finance Department, and hopefully that we can convince them that at least during this pandemic and fiscal crisis, that our recommendations to the Budget and Finance Committee would be at least considered, so that we can kickstart this, because the projects don't wait. I know that money is tight. However, we feel that urgency, and I think CIO Murdoch can elaborate more, Senator, with regard to his plans to do this, but that would be my opinion, that we do need some type of funding, however we can find it.
Appreciate that, Director, because, you know, we do need to move forward, and the longer we wait, the more difficult it is. And this is the opportune time. So I look forward to working with you and with this Chief Information Officer along those lines. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are done with all the bills. At this time, we'll call for a recess and we'll return for decision making. We are reconvening the 3 p.m. hearing of the Government Operations Committee for decision making. Let me note that any bill passing out will include the necessary technical non-substantive amendments. The first bill, SB 135, requiring the Office of Enterprise Technology Services to study and report on telecommunication access in state buildings, on the neighbor islands and in remote areas of Honolulu County. I'm going to pass that. The chair recommends passing it with amendments, adding that the office also assess disability access to these buildings. Members, any discussion? If not, I'm going to be taking the votes here. The chair votes aye on that recommendation. Senator Chang?
Aye.
Senator Gabbard?
Aye.
Senator De La Cruz excused, and Senator Fabella? Okay, Senator Fabella, okay, excused. With that, the recommendation is adopted. The next is SB 797. The chair recommends passing with tech amendments. Members, any discussion? This is relating to the Chief Information Officer having authority to approve or expedite approval of management information systems over $1 million. Any discussion? If not, chair votes aye. Senator Chang?
Aye.
Senator Gabbard?
Aye.
Senators De La Cruz and Favela excused. Oh, hi. All right. Senator
Okay,
Bill.
aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. Okay, I guess I should give these to you.
I know, sorry.
Okay.
If you call a recess, I can come down and do it.
Oh, yeah? You want to call a recess? Want to come?
It'll just take me a minute. You want to recess?
Okay, could we recess?
Yeah.
Members, for a minute?
Okay, I'll come right down.
We're back from recess. We are now looking at SB 798, requiring the Department of Accounting and General Services to purchase only zero-emission vehicles, if not cost prohibited, by January 1st, 2022. The chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. DAGS is able to begin purchase in January 2022. We're also adding that DAGS is authorized to coordinate with all other executive branch departments with their motor pools and develop a plan for achieving zero-emission vehicles purchase of new vehicles, including installation of charging stations, and report to the legislature in the next session. I have discussion. Okay, Vice Chair.
Okay, Senate Bill 798, recommendation is to pass with amendments.
Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Chang. Aye. Senator Gabbard.
SB 851 classifies small wireless facilities as permitted uses and not subject to zoning approval if deployed in unserved and underserved areas and provides definitions. The recommendation is passed with tech amendment.
Okay, Senate Bill 851 recommendation is passed with amendments. Any objections? Any reservations? If not, recommendation adopted.
Thank you. SB 947, establishing the Hawaii Broadband and Digital Equity Office. The chair's recommendations was passed with amendments taking the Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism Director's recommendations to incorporate SB 1067 that places the office within DBED and deleting the appropriation and staffing. Members, any discussion?
Okay, recommendation is to pass with amendments with 4 members present. Any reservations, objections? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. SB 1303, requiring the Department of Budget and Finance to conduct a biennial program and budget review. The chair is going to defer this, but I do note that we will be drafting a concurrent resolution to introduce directing the BNF to begin the program and budget review of agencies and report to the legislature in January 2023 and every odd numbered year thereafter, pursuant to section 3770, which requires that the department do this. Any questions, comments, members? The last bill, SB 1307, establishes an information technology modernization program within the Office of Enterprise Technology Services to guide and support major information technology projects. Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments, removing the staffing and appropriation of this bill, instead working with the Department of Accounting and General Services on its executive budget to support. So passing with that amendment.
Okay, Senate Bill 1307 recommendation is passed with amendments with 4 members present. Any reservations, objections? Recommendation adopted.
Thank you, members, and all participating. This concludes our Government Operations Committee hearing.